You weren't born to just exist. You were born to believe, to carve your own path in a world that often tries to write your story before you even pick up the pen. From the moment you opened your eyes, life began to test you. People placed limits on your name, your background, your potential. But deep down, somewhere within you, a spark began to form. Small, quiet, almost unnoticeable. That spark was belief. Not the kind taught in textbooks or handed out in praise, but the raw, unshakable kind that rises when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when no one even thinks you have a chance. Belief isn't loud. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't shout for attention. It waits. It waits for the moments when you've been beaten down, doubted, discarded, and then it whispers. You are still capable. It's in those quiet moments, those broken seconds, where belief does its best work. Because belief is not about perfection. It's about persistence. You don't believe in yourself because you've never failed. You believe in yourself because you've survived failure. You've tasted defeat and chose to stand again. That's real belief. That's unshakable strength. Every person you admire, every artist, athlete, entrepreneur, and dreamer, they didn't start with applause. They started with belief. The world didn't believe in them, so they believed in themselves. And that belief became a shield against criticism, a sword against fear, and a torch in the darkness. They were told, "You can't." They answered, "Watch me." You were laughed at, rejected, overlooked. But belief doesn't need permission to grow. It just needs a reason. And that reason is your dream. The dream that won't let you sleep. The vision that keeps pulling at your heart, no matter how many times you try to ignore it. You must protect that dream. You must guard it like a flame in the wind, because this world will try to blow it out. People will project their own insecurities onto you. They'll say things like, "Be realistic," or "That's not how the world works." But what they really mean is, they gave up on believing. That doesn't mean you have to. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the fire inside you. You don't need validation to believe in your journey. Belief is yours. It's not for sale. It's not dependent on likes, comments, or applause. It's born from the pain you've endured and the hope you refuse to let go of. The moment you decide to believe in yourself, truly, deeply, unapologetically, everything begins to change. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Your mindset shifts. Obstacles don't seem like dead ends anymore. They become training grounds. Failure doesn't feel like the end of the road. It feels like a lesson disguised as defeat. Belief transforms your perspective. Suddenly, every closed door is a challenge to find a new key. Every no becomes a step toward your yes. You stop seeing problems as curses and start recognizing them as callings. That's what belief does. It sharpens your vision while the world tries to blur it. People will ask, "Why do you keep going when nothing is working?" And your answer won't be logical. It won't make sense to the average mind. You say, "Because I believe." That's it. That's your power. That's your purpose. When the world says you're done, belief says you're just beginning. When they say, "It's impossible," belief says, "That's the starting line." You become immune to the noise because your inner voice is louder than their doubts. And that voice, it gets louder every time you take a step forward, no matter how small. Belief isn't reserved for the lucky or the gifted. It's available to anyone brave enough to claim it. It lives in the heart of the kid who refuses to quit school despite the odds. It lives in the soul of the artist painting with tears because no one sees the beauty yet. It lives in the spirit of the fighter waking up every morning, choosing to push through anxiety, trauma, heartbreak. Not because it's easy, but because they believe there's something greater waiting on the other side. Belief is what turns the impossible into inevitable. And yes, there will be days when belief is hard, when the voice inside you wavers, when you question if it's worth it. That's when you need it most. That's when you hold on tighter, not because you see the finish line, but because you remember why you started. You don't need the whole staircase, just enough feet to take the next step. And with every step, belief grows. Not in giant leaps, but in quiet victories. Waking up and trying again, falling and getting up, feeling fear and moving anyway. That's how belief is built. Like a muscle, like a habit, like a promise you keep making to yourself no matter what. So the next time someone tells you to be realistic, tell them that belief isn't about being realistic, it's about being relentless. And when you feel like giving up, remember this. The belief you have in yourself is more powerful than every doubt thrown at you. It's not about who believes in you. It's about whether you believe in you. That's the foundation. That's the foundation. That's the force that can move mountains, break limits, and rewrite stories. Believe. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Belief is not a luxury reserved for the chosen few, the ones born with silver spoons or the loudest applause. It is the fuel of those who start with nothing but a vision, a flicker of hope, and a heart too stubborn to give up. It's not something you inherit. It's something you build, brick by brick, out of broken dreams, late nights, and sheer will. It's the invisible armor that underdogs wear when they walk into rooms where no one expects them to win. It's the fire that burns quietly in those who refuse to settle, who keep getting up after every hit. Not because they're unbreakable, but because they've decided to believe that there's more for them beyond the pain. Belief is the voice in your head that says, one more time, when everything in your body screams sickly. It's not about talent, it's not about luck, it's about grit. About facing the storm, drenched and exhausted, and choosing to take one more step anyway. The world often admires the success, but forgets to ask what it took to get there. Behind every success story is a silent battle no one saw, a war fought in silence with doubt, fear and failure as daily enemies. Belief is the weapon that turns those enemies into stepping stones. You see, belief doesn't start loud. It starts in silence. It grows in the moments when no one's clapping, when the spotlight's off, and your dream looks like a joke. It's the whisper that reminds you who you are when the world tells you to settle for less. Less. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack belief. They give up because it's hard, not realizing that's exactly what belief was built for, to carry you through the hard parts. Without it, you're just surviving. With it, you're creating something that never existed before. People love to say, I'll believe it when I see it. But those who make history say, I'll believe it until I make you see it. That is the difference between dreamers and doers. Between people who watch life happen and people who make life happen. Belief is the bridge between the impossible and the inevitable. It's what lets the blind man dream of painting, the orphan dream of leadership, the dropout dream of building an empire. It's what lets you dream beyond your environment, beyond your circumstances, beyond what anyone says you're allowed to have. The world will try to box you in. It will hand you a label and expect you to wear it for life. But belief says you don't have to fit their mold. You can shatter it. It's the voice that rewrites your script, breaks generational curses, and refuses to live in limitation. You don't need a cheering crowd to believe. You need you, just you, your breath, your heart, your mind, your decision. Because when you decide to believe, you start a chain reaction. Every action you take becomes more powerful. Every failure becomes more useful. Every setback becomes a setup for something greater. That's the magic of belief. It turns resistance into resilience. The world won't hand you belief. It will try to hand you doubt, fear, excuses, and distractions. It will ask you to conform, to shrink, to stay safe. But belief doesn't live in comfort zones. It lives in discomfort. It grows in challenges. It sharpens in failure. Every time you face a wall, belief hands you a hammer. Every time you fall, belief gives you a hand up. It says, get up. You've come too far to quit now. Belief makes you dangerous, not to others, but to every lie you've ever been told. It makes you walk differently, speak differently, dream differently. You stop asking for permission. You stop needing reassurance. You know you've got what it takes, even if no one else sees it yet. And eventually, the world will catch up. Because belief doesn't just wait for results. It creates them. It works in the background, quietly pushing you toward your breakthrough, while others are still hesitating. And when the results finally show, people will call you lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. It was belief all along. Even in your darkest hour, when nothing makes sense, belief gives you vision. When all you see is chaos, belief helps you imagine peace. When all you feel is pain, belief reminds you of purpose. You may be tired, but belief gives you the strength to keep going. You may be discouraged, but belief gives you a reason to rise again. Not because everything is okay, but because you know you're built for something more. And that knowing, that deep, unshakable knowing, is belief. Belief is your secret weapon in a world that underestimates you. It's your rebellion against average, your refusal to be defined by limits. It's the reason you keep showing up, keep trying, keep dreaming. It's the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you want. And the best part, you don't need anyone to give it to you. It's already inside you, waiting for you to trust it. So the next time you doubt yourself, remind yourself of this. The most powerful thing in the world is a person who refuses to stop believing, not in miracles, but in themselves. Because belief backed by action is unstoppable. The problem isn't that dreams are too big. It's that belief is too small. Most people are not failing because they lack intelligence, talent, or opportunity. They're failing because they let their fears be louder than their faith. Because somewhere along the way, someone told them to be realistic, to shrink their vision, to aim lower, and they believed it. They were taught to doubt themselves before they ever got the chance to try. But belief is not about certainty. It's about courage. It's not about having all the answers. Not about having all the answers. It's about taking that first step, even when you can't see the entire path. The truth is, belief is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep going despite fear. It's waking up with anxiety and still choosing to show up. It's hearing the doubts in your head and still saying, I will try anyway. That's what belief looks like. Not perfection, but persistence. It's not a light switch you flip on one day and everything's fine. It's a battle you fight every single morning. But every time you choose belief over doubt, even in small ways, you grow stronger. Your dream gets louder. Your purpose gets clearer. Your future gets closer. You have to understand that the vision placed in your heart was not random. It's not an accident. It's a seed, a glimpse of what could be. But just like any seed, it needs to be watered with belief. In watering that belief means facing resistance. It means dealing with people who won't understand. It means failing, falling, and getting up over and over again. That's why belief is rare, because it costs something. But the cost of not believing? That's even greater, because that leads to a life of regret, of watching other people live out the story you were meant to write. When you truly believe, your life shifts. You stop waiting for permission and start taking responsibility. You stop comparing yourself to others and start competing with the person you were yesterday. You stop wishing for a better life and start building one. You don't need the perfect background, the best resources, or the right timing. All you need is belief. Real, raw belief that no matter what you face, you were made to overcome it. That doesn't mean it'll be easy, but it does mean it will be worth it. Every tear, every sleepless night, every ounce of pain will mean something because you didn't give up. Most people think they need to feel ready before they go after what they want. But belief doesn't require readiness. It requires decision. It's not about waiting for motivation. It's about creating momentum. And the moment you stop doubting your worth, the moment you stop asking if you're good enough and start acting like you are, the world begins to respond differently. Opportunities you once thought were out of reach start coming into focus. People who once ignored your potential begin to pay attention. But it all starts inside, because what you believe about yourself becomes the ceiling on your entire life. Some people live 80 years, others live 1 year 80 times. The difference? Belief. One group settles for what's familiar, while the other risks discomfort for something greater. You weren't born to just exist. You were born to evolve, to create, to break limits. But that only happens when you believe that your life has value beyond surviving. You weren't given your dreams to tease you. You were given your dreams as instructions, clues to your higher calling. And your job is to follow them, even when the path is hard, even when it's lonely, even when it's lonely, even when nothing makes sense. Belief is a mindset. It's how you talk to yourself when no one else is listening. It's what you whisper in the mirror when the world is silent. And that internal dialogue, it shapes everything. If you keep telling yourself that you're not good enough, you'll find proof. But if you start telling yourself that you are capable, resilient, and destined for more, you'll find proof of that too. Your brain looks for evidence to support what you believe, so start feeding it truth. Start feeding it faith. Start feeding it a vision so big that doubt doesn't stand a chance. Every breakthrough is born in belief. Every invention, every movement, every revolution started with someone who believed when no one else did. They weren't superheroes. They were people just like you, tired, uncertain, afraid, but unwilling to let that stop them. They decided to move forward without guarantees. And in doing so, they changed everything. That same power exists in you. You may not see it yet, but it's there, waiting for your permission. Not the world's, not your family's, not your past. Yours. The life you want is not in the hands of fate. It's in the hands of belief. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be brave enough to try. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need the courage to take the first step. And once you do, the next step will appear. Then the next. And slowly, belief will turn into action. Action into progress. Progress into purpose. That's the power of belief. Not in what you see, but in what you know deep down. That you were made for more and you're done waiting. So here we are, at the edge of your doubt, at the doorstep of your breakthrough, staring into the unknown. And I have just one question for you. Do you believe? I'm not asking if you believe in miracles, in luck, or in easy success. I'm asking, do you believe in you? In your fight? In your story? In the voice that refuses to silence, even when the world tries to quiet it. Because the truth is, everything starts there. Everything begins with that one decision. I believe in myself, even if no one else does. You think greatness comes from perfect plans and flawless execution? No, it comes from people who are broken, tired, misunderstood, rejected, and still chose to believe. It comes from the ones who heard no so many times they could have quit, but didn't. It comes from those who stared at closed doors and still knocked, again and again and again. Why? Because they believed that what was on the other side was worth the fight. Look at yourself. Really look. Look, you've been through storms that would have drowned others, but you're still here. That's not luck. That's belief in motion. That's strength people can't see with the naked eye. That's courage most will never understand. And if you've made it this far, then don't stop now. The fire in you wasn't lit to warm a small room. It was built to light up the world. So the next time life knocks you down and that old voice in your head says, see, you're not meant for this. I want you to answer back. I want you to shout, oh no, I am meant for this. I was born for this. This pain, it's not punishment, it's preparation. This setback, the setup, this pressure is shaping me into who I was always meant to become. You want a sign? You want proof that it's worth it? You are the proof. Every time you got back up, every time you kept walking with tear-stained cheeks and a heavy heart, that was belief. Every time you whispered, I'll try again tomorrow, when today almost broke you, that broke you. That was belief. Don't you dare underestimate that. Don't you dare talk down to your own progress. You're not behind. You're building. You're not failing. You're forming. And what you're forming is something the world needs. People may not see your vision yet. That's okay. It wasn't given to them. It was given to you. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Let them question. And then let your results silence the noise. Because when belief becomes action, and action becomes consistency, and consistency becomes momentum, no force can stop you. Not your past, not fear, not even failure. Because belief doesn't guarantee ease, but it does guarantee progress. And when people ask you one day how you did it, how you made it through, how you kept going when things got hard, don't tell them you had it all figured out. Tell them the truth. Tell them, I believed in me when it didn't make sense. I believed when it was lonely. I believed when it was quiet. I believed when the results weren't there yet. I believed when my bank account said no, when my friends said no, when the world said no. I still said yes to myself. You see, belief doesn't need the stars to align. It aligns the stars. It rearranges the chaos. It clears the fog. It doesn't wait for things to be perfect. It creates perfection out of imperfection, meaning out of messes, purpose out of pain. And if you can just hold on to that belief, even when it's shaky, even when it's small, even when it's flickering, it will grow. It will grow into something so powerful that it changes not only your life, but the lives of everyone who sees you win. So don't shrink to fit someone else's comfort zone. Don't dim your light to make others feel better in the dark. Don't stop dreaming because it hasn't happened yet. You don't have to have it all today. You just have to believe enough to take the next step. And then the next. And the next. The next. That's how dreams are built. Not in leaps, but in inches. In quiet battles and relentless belief. Now stand up, shoulders back, chin high. Remind yourself who you are. You are not ordinary. You are not meant for small things. You are not the echo of someone else's doubts. No. You are the voice of your own destiny. You are the writer of your story. You are the creator of your future. You are the force that can turn nothing into something, but only if you believe. So I leave you with this final truth. The world doesn't need more people who play it safe. It needs people who believe in impossible things. It needs you. So go out there and believe like it's already done. Believe like your life depends on it, because it does. And watch what happens when belief becomes your superpower. Nothing, absolutely nothing, will ever be the same again. Believe. Oh. Not tomorrow, not when it's easy, not when it's popular. Believe right now and never stop.